An outcast warrior enters a land plagued by an evil fate. He is not like ordinary men, for he carries the Dragon Slayer, a mighty blade of retribution, whose fury knows no equal. His enemies will know true fear once he starts to swing.
Berserk, one of my favorite series of all time. I had been meaning to make this video for a long time, however recently I have felt that this was more imperative than ever, as I will explain later on. Spanning across many mediums such as manga, films, several television series, and video games, Berserk is well known around the world and known for being one of the best-selling manga series of all time. My first encounter with Berserk was when I was a kid. Believe it or not, the series has been around almost as long as I've been alive. There was a video game called Sword of the Berserk Guts Rage, which was released for the Sega Dreamcast. I had no idea what it was about, but I did enjoy the mindless hacking and slashing at the time. Later, as an adult, I would come across it once more. I had recently returned from my first Iraq deployment, and while I was in a store, I saw a large box of DVDs labeled Berserk, Box of War, which is the 1997 animated series covering the Golden Age arc. Fascinated, I purchased it and proceeded to binge watch the whole thing in a few days. After the wild ending, I told myself that there was no way that it ended there and did some research, coming upon the manga shortly afterwards. Berserk's beginning actually starts in the middle, I would argue. You initially see a mercenary with one eye, a prosthetic metal arm, and a giant sword on an extremely violent quest to kill any demonic being he comes across. Along the way, you see how twisted and full of absolute rage this man is, and you wonder what could have possibly made this guy have this sort of thought process. Although personally, I can relate, at least on the primal level. The Golden Age arc is the one that many people are the most familiar with because it is the part of the story that is the most adapted into animation and film. This arc is an amazing story all on its own, but it serves as a really effective backstory to why the main character is the way that he is when you first see him. By the end of it, you can truly understand. This arc makes you get attached to the characters and experience their ups and downs along with them. The end, as mentioned earlier, will leave you needing to know what happens next. I would recommend that anyone watch the 3 films that came out in recent years covering this arc if they don't want to sit down and read the manga. They're not perfect, but they were still well done. The main character of Berserk is named Guts. No last name, just Guts. And what a fucked up life this character lives. He was born from a corpse and taken in by the wife of a mercenary who had just recently miscarried. At the age of 3, his adoptive mother died, and the mercenary band thought of him as a bad omen. Lots of crazy shit happened throughout his childhood and into his adolescence until he struck out on his own. Honestly, it's difficult to talk about this character without giving away too many spoilers, but to put it simply, most of his life was filled with tragedy, pain, and suffering. But no matter what, he pushes forward, continuing to search for the meaning of his existence by battling to preserve it. It always seems as though he takes one step forward and then forced to take 2 steps back. But he always perseveres against any challenge, whether it's being outnumbered by multiple enemies or having to face a horrific monster. And now to the most important part of this entire video. The author. Berserk was authored by Kentaro Miura. Unfortunately, Mr. Miura left this world in early May of this year due to cardiac issues at the young age of 54. He was unable to finish his masterpiece. For many years, the chapters came out very slowly, and people were beginning to think that he had run out of inspiration or that his success had made him turn into a lazy slacker like another author which I will not name here. However, Kentaro Miura was known to be a perfectionist. He wanted to put out the best product possible and took great pride in his work. And of course, we now know that he was in poor health for many years. Mr. Miura and his work, which has impacted the lives of many around the world, will be greatly missed. And so I would recommend that you check out and admire the greatest work of Kentaro Miura, Berserk.